Slave rebellions were bloody. They triggered brutal crackdowns, mass executions, and restrictive laws, and in some cases the legality of slavery was challenged, while rebellions exposed its violence, galvanizing abolitionists. Nat Turner's Rebellion, 1831. Nat Turner, an enslaved preacher, was inspired by religious visions. Turner and 70 followers killed 55 to 65 whites in Southampton County, Virginia over 2 days. Militia suppressed the revolt. Turner hid for 6 weeks but was captured and hanged. His body was dissected. Retaliatory killings by whites resulted in over 120 enslaved and free blacks murdered without trials. White militias and mobs rampaged for weeks, killing indiscriminately. Virginia enacted draconian new slave codes, banning enslaved people from learning to read and write, restricting religious assembly without a white minister present, and further limiting movement. Stono Rebellion, 1739, South Carolina. Led by Jimmy, an Angolan-born enslaved man. It was the largest pre-revolution uprising. 20 rebels raided a weapons store in South Carolina, killing 20 whites, and marched towards Spanish Florida. The Spanish offered freedom to escaped British slaves in exchange for conversion to Catholicism and military service. South Carolina's militia engaged the rebels. 20 died in the battle. Most survivors were executed. Some may have escaped. The Negro Act of 1740 was a direct response, prohibited enslaved people from learning to read, assembling in groups, growing their own food, or earning money. It also made manumission much harder. The ban on drumming, a key communication tool, was crucial. Gabriel Prosser's Rebellion, 1800. Prosser planned a large-scale insurrection involving possibly hundreds across multiple counties to seize Richmond, take Governor James Monroe hostage, and demand abolition. He was betrayed by 2 enslaved men due to a torrential storm that delayed the rebellion and gave authorities time to react. Prosser and at least 25 others were hanged. Virginia tightened slave laws in response. German Coast Uprising, 1811. It was inspired by the Haitian Revolution. Charles Deslandes was a key leader, involving 200 to 500 enslaved men marching down the Mississippi River towards New Orleans. Only 2 whites were killed during the rebellion. It was crushed by the U.S. Army and local militia within days. Estimates of rebels killed range anywhere from 44 to 95. Dozens more executed after summary trials. Heads were displayed on poles along the river. Denmark's Vesey Conspiracy, 1822. Vesey, a free black carpenter who purchased his freedom, planned a sophisticated revolt involving thousands in and around Charleston. The goal was to kill slaveholders, burn the city, and commandeer ships to sail to Haiti. But he was betrayed by enslaved informants before it could begin. Vesey and 34 co-conspirators were hanged. South Carolina responded with the Negro Seaman Act, which required imprisonment of free black sailors entering Charleston. Other harsh laws targeting free blacks and restricting assembly and education were passed. AMISTAD Rebellion, 1839. This was not a rebellion against the U.S. slave system, but an uprising by illegally enslaved Africans against their Spanish captors aboard a ship bound for Cuba. It became a landmark legal case challenging the international slave trade. The ship was captured off Long Island. The Africans faced murder and piracy charges. Abolitionists led their defense, The Supreme Court in 1841, citing treaties banning the international slave trade, ruled they were free people kidnapped into slavery and had the right to resist. 36 survivors returned to Sierra Leone in 1842. The case was a massive propaganda victory for abolitionists. John Brown's Raid, 1859. It was led by white abolitionists. Their plan? Seize the federal arsenal at Harpers Ferry, Virginia, distribute weapons to enslaved people, and establish a stronghold in the mountains to wage guerrilla war against slavery. Brown's small band, 21 men, including 5 black men, was quickly surrounded by U.S. Marines. 10 raiders died. Brown was tried for treason against Virginia and hanged. His dignified conduct and writings during his trial made him a martyr for the abolitionist cause. Cherokee Nation Slave Revolt, 1842. Enslaved people held by Cherokee slaveholders in Indian Territory rebelled. Approximately 25 enslaved people from multiple plantations revolted, killing 2 slaveholders, seized supplies, and headed south towards Mexico, which had abolished slavery in 1829, offering refuge. Cherokee militia and U.S. troops pursued them into Creek territory. 5 rebels were killed in a skirmish. Most were captured and returned, some executed. A small number successfully reached freedom in Mexico. Cases like AMISTAD used the legal system to challenge slavery's foundations, while the violence inherent to suppressing rebellions like Turner's starkly exposed the system's brutality to a wider audience, galvanizing abolitionist sentiment.